Tom Flores didn't believe his speed either, right? When he arrived with the Raiders?
Yeah, because he'd run a 4.13 in college, and he's with the Raiders early on, and Flores is a coach, and he has Bo run a 40 on grass in pads, and he does a 4.19. And no one believed, like, no, that doesn't seem right. They measure it out, and he runs it again, and he runs a 4.17 in pads. The guy's 35 pounds heavier than Tyreek Hill, and Tyreek Hill does not run a 4.13 40. It's insane.
And he ran it in pads. And some guys are faster in pads, you know.
Well, he wasn't, because he ran the 4.13 at Auburn, not in pads.
Right.
He only ran a 4.17 in pads on grass.
Jesus. Wow.
He's the best athlete who's ever lived. I don't care what anyone says. Throw anyone at me. I know Deion's, a guy you like him. He's just a better athlete. He just is.
Well, I mean, it's not just that, too, is that he was also bigger than anybody with that athletic ability as well, right? I mean, Deion said that when he approached him to try and tackle him in college, he said he didn't know he was running on a grown-ass man, and that he palmed his head like a prayer warrior, is what he said when he was on this program. And he did. You looked up that video, Chris. I know that.
Posted it.
And here's the amazing thing about this story as well, because we could go on and on and on, and you do fill your book with all of these amazing stories, Jeff, is that he's not in either of the halls of fame of baseball and football.
He's in a college football.
He's at, I'm talking professionally is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Professionally, he's not in either one of these. And I'm sitting here reading this book next to my daughter. She's 9 and she's doing her reading. I'm doing my reading. Right. I'm doing my homework.
She's probably reading the harder book.
And she's asking, who's Bo Jackson, Dad? Right. Who's Bo Jackson? And I explained to her, best I can as to who he is. How would you explain who he is then?
So I always show people who don't know who he is. Like I showed my kids him climbing up the wall in Kansas City.
Yes.
And I'm like, because my son and I had this debate, what's the greatest Bo Jackson play? And I'm like, there have been other great throws. There have been amazing runs. There's never, ever, ever been a guy recorded running up the wall, across the wall, down the wall. Never. It is ridiculous. The day after that happened, all these baseball players throughout the majors were trying to do it during batting practice. Couldn't do it. Nobody can do that. And I would say he is just the superlative athlete of all time, the greatest physical specimen of all time. Take Jim Thorpe, take Deion, take whoever. He's the greatest. And I think he's worth knowing about. I just do.
Well, and the reason why maybe, like I said, we don't know about is you can go to Cooperstown and I imagine there may be some of his baubles in Cooperstown from some of his achievements, right? And I've been to the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I don't know if there's anything in there about Bo Jackson. I don't even think there's like a Bosworth exhibit for that moment, even though that is truly one of the more seminal moments. You can't tell the history of the NFL even without that moment. Him running out of a tunnel, all of that business. So is it because he got hurt?
Yeah,
that's essentially it.
He doesn't have the numbers.
Go ahead. What if he didn't get hurt, Jeff? What do you think if he did not get hurt on that day?
He was only going to play one more year of football. I heard on your show he said he was planning on retiring at the end of the year. At the time, he actually said he was going to play one more year and then retire. And I think he wrote about that in his book too. He might have been confused by that. If he had played a 12-year football career, he's Jim Brown. He's Eric Dickerson. He's Walter Payton. He's at that level. I think the interesting thing is if he never played football and he devoted himself to the major leagues exclusively, he had Mike Trout, Mickey Mantle talent. He really did. He was a raw player. His routes were not good. He didn't move runners over. He didn't really know how to read pitchers. If he had devoted himself full time and hadn't been using his off seasons in baseball for football, I think he's one of the handful of absolute greatest players of all time.
And do you think he would have done that had he not gotten hurt and gotten out of football and had the ability? Still, do you think his baseball skills were significantly diminished by that injury in football?
I think his baseball skills, he missed a window where he should have been if he wanted that.
Yes.
Where he should have been developing his skills by playing instructional league, by going to play in the Dominican. He didn't have that period. He was so raw. He didn't even play one full season of minor league baseball. He jumps up to the Royals. He didn't really know. It was all instinctive, and he had these moments. I think he really needed he should have been in the minor leagues longer. Truth of the matter is he should have started in A-ball. He should have gone up gradually. He should have had 2 years in the minors, and I think you would have seen this majestic ball player.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.